first, I hope it's a welcoming, because I'm not exactly sure if this is going through yet. Because them's kind of the breaks at the moment. I'm your host, as always, Chad Porto. Joining me is my glorious co-host, Marcus Green. Marcus, how are you?
All good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm on a movie kick recently.
Nice. What you
Yeah.
watching?
Well, I got through both of the more recent American Godzillas. I saw the first one in bits and pieces to know if exactly what happened, but I never watched it all the way through. So I finally did that. And then I watched the new one back to back. I also watched a movie called The Wolf of Something or Other. It's supposed to be like some type of. It's supposed to be some kind of like weird ass. It's framed as a werewolf movie, but it's really not a werewolf movie. But it makes more sense if you watch the
Oh,
flick.
oh man, I'm so glad you hear that. I'm like, you watched The Wolf of Wall Street?
No, but that movie was carnivorous in all the right ways.
Hey,
Hey.
I love Harley Quinn.
So I saw that it's like the wolf of. Hang on, the wolf of. It's gonna take me to Wolf of Wall Street, isn't it?
I watched the Wolf movie some years ago, werewolf movie where Jason Momoa was like the head alpha.
Oh, I don't think I've seen that. It's called The Wolf of Snow Hollow, and
Oh,
it's not really about a werewolf, but it's not bad. It's not bad.
the movie actually called Wolves. Okay,
I'll
2014.
I'll have to check that out. 'Cause I'm a big Momoa fan, obviously. So I should have changed the headline for the Twitch show. RIP WE Network. There we go. That's what we're going with. Let's see what else did I watch. I watched a few. I watched two last night. What the fuck did I watch last night? Well, clearly they were great because I perfectly called them. You know, such good flick. Totally remember what I watched last night. I don't remember what I watched last night. I can tell you what I'm watching tonight, though. I will be watching Shin Godzilla, the Toho remake from like 2016, 2017. I want to see big bad big boy Godzilla ripping through Tokyo and other parts of Japan.
Yeah, I mean it's funny enough because I think I guess decided not to watch that, but there's also some good stuff on Netflix.
Mm.
Those anime where like Godzilla made them leave the planet.
I did see something about that. Yes,
Yeah.
that may be on
uh,
the docket.
I came back. I was like, okay, it's been a number of years. Okay, let's see if let's see if everything clear. They showed back up. Godzilla was like, no survivors. Thought it was over. Oh man.
Kong's all like, "I'm gonna hit you with a big stone axe. Don't worry, you can handle it. It'll be very painful. I think you can take it
It's
for you."
that's it's so funny. Everything just be better with Bane in it. Like if because you know they showed like the potential third enemy in the trailer.
Yes, yes. The fact that it might be Mecha Godzilla.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think
So
we saw the
if
same video.
because if Mechagodzilla was is voiced by Bane, that would be hilarious.
Oh my God, Tom Hardy should just do everything. Could you imagine like
Uh,
Bambi only with like Bane quotes? Make everything Dawn of Justice and or Bane related. Just just go off with that. Oh, it'll be
it
so
would
good.
seem it would seem that they have been tortured.
Lilo and Stitch, but with Bane. Blue punch buggy. No punchbacks.
Oh,
Oh, good. My dog found the chainsaw. So RIP WWE Network. That's how we're starting this thing off tonight. The network's dead. Kaloo Kalay. That network has been slayed. So, Marcus, when you found out that the WWE Network was being ported over to Peacock, the NBC streaming service, thereby shuttering the doors of the actual network itself, what was your first kind of reaction?
I was like, huh, that's interesting. But then when I saw for how much, I'm like, come on, man, the bottom, it's like we always talk about their bottom line is their bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
So when they sold what 1.4 billion or something like that. Um, the narrative is, like I said, the money first, and then they're gonna have the same content, which is now an even bigger library because the stuff that's on the Peacock situation too. So for them, it had a good run. I mean, they basically treated the network like they treat the gimmicks.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it was the fiend for streaming, right? And then eventually it was fun, and then now it's the transition into something else. So.
You want to hear the best part? I was really wanting to watch some WCW lately, and I was like, I'll go sign back up for the network. I'm making some decent disposable income. The next day, I hadn't signed up for anything yet. I read that they're shutting it down. I'm like, I'm not surprised. People, Marcus, I've been saying this since 2014. The network has been such a strain on finances that it's not even funny. It's never made the WWE money. That's why they were always trying to think of new gimmicks and ways to hotshot the monthly per. I'm not sure. Like I'd have to talk to my guy that I talked to before about this, like a few years ago. But the basic understanding that I have is the deal will barely make the last 6.5 years of the network profitable. That's how much money has been told through the grapevines to me that they lost on the network. So well, Vince does like him, so.
Yeah. And it's funny because I've seen a lot of people. I think I've seen some backlash on this, like, "Oh my God, this, that, and the third." It's like, again, it's just certain people just don't want to accept narratives. I mean, how long have you been saying about the NXT stuff with the contracts and what have you, and just the brand itself, and how long have you been saying it about the network, which you're not the only one that said that. But again, when people are enjoying some stuff, it doesn't matter what's going on around it. Again, that gif of everything around them burning. It's fine. We're fine. We're good. It's all that stuff.
And that's kind of just how it is. A lot of people don't like the idea that their favorite thing might be problematic. But, it flat out is. The WWE talent are getting paid butt kiss. And we're about to talk about here in a second the PC students and how they're dealing with shit now. The company is hugely problematic. It's hugely it's just bad all around, man. And I don't know why people refuse to, acknowledge it. Like, if everyone's telling you your house is on fire, you can sit here and go, nah, I'm good, fam, all you want. But if you want to look outside the window and see your roof on fire, you can. But it's up to you to do it. We're screaming fire at the top of our lungs, but no one wants to listen.
Yeah, well, in their mind, if they walk in your house and they see fresh bananas, you can't have rotten apples. So
damn, that's a good analogy.
If you're making if their mind is like, oh my God, even though in the pandemic this is the most profitable year, then how can they be losing money over here? So.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, the rights for their network are so high that they could eat losses across the board for a significant time period and still maintain a profit. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how much money these TV deals are getting. But the thing is, and this is partly why they're moving to a Peacock, these rights are no longer going to exist in a few years. Like when I don't know when the Fox contract runs out. I think it was like a 5-year deal, maybe something like that.
Yeah, something to that effect.
whenever these TV deals run out, it's very unlikely, especially with the fucking rock bottom ratings, if you smell what they're cooking, that they'll ever get that kind of money again for TV deals. Now, the streaming deals will be very lucrative for as long as the streaming has legs. But again,
Yeah.
this is another thing that I've been saying for years, and you're seeing it start to matriculate. Streaming services are going to be shutting down in the next 2 to 3 years at a rapid rate as they are bought out because they no longer have the ability to sustain themselves. Because streaming services in such a grandiose way are money pits. Now, you look at, say, Shikara's when they had theirs, or Impact's, that's a lot more maintainable because Impact is owned by a television company and most of their streaming content is on demand. So they're not putting money into new content. They're sourcing it to a specific place. With the WWE Network, however, they were doing pay-per-views. They were doing live specials. They were doing television shows. They were putting in podcast money. Like, remember, they were doing, like, Edge and Christian's stupid fucking shenanigans show. They had Stone Cold Steve Austin did, like, 2 seasons of his stupid podcast where he talked about getting drunk. It's just one of those things where they were putting in so much money and getting nothing back because they weren't selling the licensing rights to these shows. You know, if they put, you know, E&C's Pot of All or whatever it was called, their little sketch show on, say, Comedy Central, then that show would have made them money. But they weren't making enough money. They were making $10 million a month at best. And that's not a lot of money when you consider the fact they had a constant stream. They were producing live content for that service exclusively. And they were losing money on pay-per-views. So, yeah, it's not that hard to think that, you know, they are in some money pits financially with the network. And it's just another thing you can put on to, you know, Vince's hat of failures. His own network, his 2 football leagues, his bodybuilding league, WCW. It's nice. Vince McMahon has more failures than successes.
Yeah, man, it's interesting, and as you know, just all around nerds ourselves looking at this situation going on right now. Obviously, everybody's geeked around stuff. We were just talking about Godzilla, talking about HBO Max, and then the whole, you know, Disney Plus thing. Like, HBO Max is cool, but you know, multiple people have talked about how there are millions of subscribers or millions of people that have HBO Max and haven't necessarily activated their subscription because of whatever scenario that HBO has done, whether I guess they've bungled some of the marketing or how they've rolled that situation out. So they're having to do stuff to kind of garner people in, which is half of the reason I would imagine, or at least a good chunk of the reason why they got stuff going simultaneous streaming and into the theaters. But they've got millions of people that should probably be subbed to that situation and aren't.
Mm-hmm.
You know, meanwhile in Disney, kind of like the Marvel Universe, they've established enough credit. And then they got all that great backlog content that a lot of people haven't necessarily seen over the years that they can kind of bank on, and they got original stuff coming now. So, I mean, you know, people might want to see it, but I mean, look at what happened to Quibi. That was a complete clusterfuck, and that was the worst case scenario for how you begin with one of these streaming services. So if it just takes longer for some of these places to get to Quibi, some of it is inevitable because everybody's trying to do it now. And you know, if you do a stampede, somebody's gonna end up as that last antelope in the Lion King movie when Mufasa was already dead.
Oh, Marcus. Ruining childhood. One awesome analogy at a time. What you're going to end up eventually seeing in its totality and conclusion is places like Amazon and Netflix and maybe even iTunes kind of popping up as third-party distributors. You know, kind of going back to a decade ago when instead of Fox having or ABC and all of them having their own streaming services, they migrate to one. Because the idea of ABC or Disney or NBC or CBS or whomever acquiring another major conglomerate with the current presidency is not going to happen. That's going to violate some antitrust laws as the rightfully would so. And the only reason why the Fox acquisition didn't violate any type of monopoly was because they were selling a studio, not their platform. So, as things continue on, this is going to be something to keep an eye on. And, streaming services around the world are going to be affected by this. CBS is relaunching theirs as Paramount Plus. It's not going to do well. They don't have anything to offer. Now, they're like, well, we have SpongeBob and Dora and Jersey Shore. And I'm thinking, well, cool. If this was 2009, you'd have a hit. But y'all dragging your feet here.
80% of that cast from Jersey Shore on completely different life narratives. Now, Snooki is damn near a church girl.
And they're all like 50. Like, okay, cool. Well, what else are you going to put on here? Bar Rescue? No, thanks. Now, you bring back Deadliest Warrior? I could get down with that. I could vibe with that. Do another Blue Mountain movie? I'd be down with that. Some more Thad Castle. Comes back as the new head coach. Hell yeah. There's your follow-up movie. He's the head coach.
It's weird. I mean, that is actually. I mean, they kind of did that. I think with that Drumline sequel, where one of the guys came back as he was the leader of the band. But yeah, it's weird. We've been so oversaturated with reality shows. They're like, okay, let's give you the ones where you actually liked them when they were good. Like, but were they though, or was the trend just hot at that time?
It was just a hot trend. Why do you think shows like The Real World and Road Rules Challenge don't exist anymore?
Yeah, when's the last time you heard about Honey Boo Boo or the Dynasty Ducks or whatever?
Well, to be fair, Honey Boo Boo's like 12 and has diabetes, and the Duck Dynasty guys are shocking, homophobic, and racist. I didn't see that one coming, Marcus. I was floored. It's like, you're telling me the murder clown murders people? Oh, I'm shocked.
Nobody dropped the Tyra Banks. We were rooting for you. We were all rooting for you.
But were we? Cool, you made a duck call. You twats. Speaking of twats, WWE is pissing people off left and right. They apparently reopened their performance center. And Marcus, I have to ask, to what end? Oh, I watched Palm Springs last night. That's what it was. I knew I'd remember it eventually with Andy Samberg and Christina Milioti, I think is her name. That was enjoyable. I liked it. I completely forgot I watched it, though. Speaking of things I forget about, the Performance Center still exists. But it's not in a state right now that I think, well, it's in the state of Florida, so it's always in the state of hell, that I think people want it to be. A lot of the talent who need to be there in terms of like developing, their acumen and their abilities have really been kind of given a rough go of it, because we often forget, Marcus, they're not just signing your Adam Coles and Brian Danielsons. They're signing George Jorgensen from Georgia Tech. He was a power forward punter at the midline. I know sports. I don't know why I'm being a dick about it. But like
the wannabe Gronks, goddamn.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're signing athletes, which, granted, that's the right move. Like that's why WCW was really good with the power plant. They didn't just sign good-looking people; they signed athletes. Yeah. And the Big Show. So one.
Oh no, he turned again already?
Dude, the Big Show is just a NASCAR fan because he's always making a turn. So there's a lot of guys that need performance time, and I accept that. I admit that, and I acknowledge that. But if you need to rush their development to the point where you're getting them back in the ring every day and you're only giving them one COVID test a week, that's fucked up. I understand needing to work during the pandemic. I also understand that if you do need to work, you need to make all the precautions in the world to make sure that it is sustainable. I don't know how you can put people in a bubble and then have them wrestle each other, although I would pay to find out. World Bubble Wrestling.
To be fair, I think this would be a good change of character for Nia Jax. Of course, they would have to. That'd have to be a hell of a bubble. But
Somehow she'd still end up hurting people. God knows she hurts
poor
me every
Dana,
time she wrestles.
poor Dana Brooke. Did you see what she did?
I did not. Although I can't imagine it was any good considering it's Nia Jax. And I don't know the last time Nia Jax was ever mentioned positively. So there's that. Marcus, do you think the Performance Center kids have a point that this is almost unnecessary and at times even unsafe?
Yeah, man. I mean, look, we Shelton Benjamin. People was calling out Shelton Benjamin on Raw last night because he came out during the entrance with a mask on. People were like, oh my God, he forgot to take his mask off. He's like, no, I didn't. I was doing it to keep this thing. So, I think we talked about this too. For as many people as you see on NXT, it's like 2 to 3 times more than that ready to be called up.
Yeah.
Like the performance center is basically become they just huddle people in there for no reason. They hoard people is what they've done. It's so many people. Thank God that the two rascals got called up as quick as they did in terms of transition to NXT. But it's like just a gang of people down there, man. So if the whole thing is open to them, I just don't know how safe it is when you look at those potential numbers. So they got every right to be concerned.
And that's another one of those situations where I have to point out that the WWE just has too many damn people, too many damn shows, and it's really not being as, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not a situation where you're able to utilize all these people to such a strong enough degree.
Yeah.
These individuals are sitting out most of the time or not working or barely working or what have you. Oh, jeez. She just got dropped on her fucking head. What was she even trying?
I think it was some type of
Well, that's how you get a
type of
concussion.
top of the power bomb lift into a choke slam. Jesus Christ.
All kinds of stupid. Right? How does she have a job? That's the thing. Like they cut Ryder and Hawkins and Kurt Angle and Rusev and Spud and the Good Brothers and
Akam
Akam and Razor, Michelangelo, Donatello. They kept Raphael for some reason. Deanna Prazo. Like they cut so many great talents, and they kept Nia. I guess it pays to know The Rock, man.
Hey man, you can't ask a Samoan how they still got a job, or twice removed Samoan, or whatever the familial narrative is.
Is it familiar? Like I'm just saying, like maybe not.
It's contrary to what people still may think. Tamina is still very much employed.
Yeah, unfortunately. That's just how it is. Speaking of how it is, Sting is getting a match with the Brian Cage and Ricky Starks, and Sting is going to be tagging with Darby Allin. It's going to be at a pay-per-view. That's going to be on Turner Broadcast or Bleacher Report or Go Fight Live. God, that's a name I haven't said in a while.
Fight Live.
We were once part of Go Fight Live. I think we had a show on there. I think we had 2 shows on there. We are old. So old. So old. Anyway, so what are we talking about? Oh yeah, Sting's debut match: Darby Allin, Sting versus Ricky Starks and Brian Cage. The best of NWA and Impact versus the best of Impact and Tony Hawk Pro Skating Underground. Thank you. I was like, oh god, did that joke not land?
Because Taz, your half of self is included in that impact. So no, no.
Down in Tasmania, down in Tasmania, down in Tasmania. We mean you.
Look, with his age and his potential liability in terms of, I think his, well, let's talk about his neck. If he gets the high tag, he better have the bat. That's all I'm saying. Because if I see him take one clothesline from Brian Cage, I'm turning the TV off.
Well, it's a street fight, so there's not going to be any hot tags.
Nice. Well, everything Sting should do should be with a bat. Then I don't want to see him doing those flashes. Like don't like people like don't go full retard. Don't go full Matt Hardy on anything. This thing leaving his feet.
See, I'm so conflicted because, like, on one hand, he needs to be in bubble wrap, being pushed gently into rooms because I don't want Sting Baby to be broken. On the other hand, I want him to splash the shit out of people. Conflicted. Yo soy conflicted.
You're like, just let Darby do all the stunts and you just like, dang, because even if he do the death drop, he dropping back on his damn. Be straight bat shots from the scorpion sharpshooters.
Well, I think one of the good things about what's going on is he clearly knows his limitations. Because like this is something he's been aware of. Ever since he came into TNA, he's always kind of adapted to what he can do.
Yeah.
On the other side of the coin as well, we have to remember that he had the same surgery Edge did.
Mm.
And he was already only wrestling 9 times a year anyway. So, in theory, he should be okay to have a match. But I'm talking like if he does anything more than a back bump, I'm going down to Orlando with a baseball bat to find Brian Cage and Ricky Starks. And I'm going to put them down myself. I'm going to be one of them internet fans that thinks it's still real. Be like, why you got to do that to Sting, man? Why you got to do that to Sting? I mean, the front row being held back by security.
It's like it's Mr. 3000 from Ohio.
Oh, God, a Bernie Mac reference. I'm a 3000 in your face. By the by, Mil Muertes made his debut for MLW last week or the week before. I think it might be a week behind. Just look at this fucking photo, man. Tell me that's not the most badass just group of dudes. That's legit right there. And of course you got, center, you got what the hell's her name?
Something Del Renta, is that correct?
De La Renta, yeah. I forget her first name, but De La Renta is right though. Melissa no. I think Melissa Santos is done with Impact finally.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing when she wasn't coming up on Twitch at all.
Honestly, I don't mind it. I thought she was a waste of a paycheck in her role. Not as a talent. I don't want people to be like, but why do we need a commercial break moderator? Right?
Yeah,
like that to me was always dumb.
A commercial break moderator. That's basically what it was. Yeah. Like I appreciate the sentiment, but yeah, man, it just wasn't necessary. You might as well just play what they do now, which is what old clips or just advertising stuff for the app. So yeah, but this is a badass looking squad. Now if these dudes, I miss Lucha Underground. But this would be a great fact. he never had an actual faction. Not that he needed one. He was like 5 murderers at once. But
I do
the
miss,
headdress,
what was her name? Catalina, Katrina.
Katrina, yeah.
I miss her. So just so you know, that's L.A. Park Jr., then L.A. Park, Selena De La Renta, Mil Muertes, and then El Hijo de L.A. Park. Because apparently L.A. Park Jr. and the son of L.A. Park are different people. It's not the first time I've seen this in Lucha Libre. It's just
Yeah,
stupid every
it's
time.
it's funny because it's like every time you bring up the park scenario, it's like I feel like it's when people ask like the Usos or something to ask anybody to break down the Samoan lineage, like who's related to who, how. Like, this is L.A. Park Negro. This is L.A. Park L.A. Cinco. This is the real L.A. Park. This is an offshoot from New York. Like what?
This is Low Park. That's High Park. Medium Park. Joseph Park. Got it.
Oh, 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 hey, and who could forget Central Park? Like what?
It's just Eddie Kingston.
Oh, hilarious.
All right, let's touch another topic. With Lance Storm, he's tired of the supernatural in wrestling. He's done with the undead realm. He's done with Bray Wyatt and his Bray shenanigans. He's done with creepy Alexis Bliss or whatever her shtick is. And honestly, I'm vibing with it. Like I'm done with it too. But this isn't new. I'm not doing the whole because Lance Storm said it, I can now have an opinion about it. No, I've hated this shit for 3 years. Ever since the Broken Hardy shit.
He has. I could test.
Cinematic wrestling is the bane of my existence, kind of like Bane is for Batman. Only my Bane doesn't have cool lines. Just everyone quoting Matt Hardy from 2016. I knew you'd
Yeah.
come. Really? Really? You're watching Pornhub? Of course you knew.
Our brother Nero. I need the lotion. But but if we had to go through all that just to get a disgruntled, sexually abused trucker looking for a friend.
That didn't suck.
Well, yeah, man, I can get it, and specifically when WWE is taking it. I mean, look, it was already the fact that Impact had to rely on it's so heavy when they did. Of course, that was again more bungling behind the scenes. Was thank God we're past that, but they peaked with it, even after they kept going with it because they basically had to because that was the only straight line thing to the point where they had to film an entire show from the compound.
Yep.
But WWE got a hold to it and it just continuously bungled it. I think they peaked with the Taker and Style stuff. That's kind of where it should stop. Now you got Bray. If the Fiend is supposed to be dead, the Alexa Bliss stuff. Orton is looking like a demented lucha libre in a musty mask. Like it's not good. I get it, but to be fair, it's not like the non-cinematic stuff is any better, man. So,
Okay. Yes. Valid point, Marcus. But no. That's my retort. No. For me, I think it kind of comes down to the over the top notion with a lot of what's going on in WWE and like the stuff with Randy Orton and Alexa Bliss and the Fiend. Like, man,
yeah.
like, can we not, guys? Like, we don't need to be murdering people on television to be risque or to be intense. Like, you can do other things. So that to me is kind of, and I think we peaked as a genre gimmick at Slammiversary with Scott Steiner and Josh Matthews versus Jeremy Borash and Joseph Park. That's where I think we peaked. Mostly because I had Shark Boy biting a dude on the ass in a pool.
Yeah, and if anything, that's not necessarily like because also I guess there's varying levels of the cinematic stuff. Because when I think of the cinematic, I think of legitimate all of the disappearing acts and this, that, and the third that we
Mm-hmm.
got with the at the height of the decay deletion stuff. But the damn Scott Steiner stuff is like I 100% get it. It's just, oh man, it's almost feels like a happy medium, and a lot of that is on somebody like Steiner just being freaking hilarious, and you could tell Josh just gave in to the Steiner of it all because you can't produce that man.
Mm-hmm.
And Shark Boy, I always pop for Shark Boy.
I 100% agree with you when you said that it's the happy medium. That's where I think there's legs for cinematic wrestling. Because, like, Scott Steiner, as much as I would love him to be 2000 Scott Steiner just beating ass and killing plastic ducks and running people down, he's not. He's nearly
Yeah.
60. He's probably a good 80 pounds overweight. I shouldn't say overweight because he's still in great shape. But he's carrying about 80 pounds more than his frame would really want him to. And he's not moving well. He's got a heart thing now. So, like, you want to be careful with guys like Scott Steiner. So in that instance, I'm fine with it. But then you see, like, the John Cena Fiend stuff, and I don't know how you feel about it. So, and I don't ever want to speak for you. But the stuff at WrestleMania last year with Cena and Wyatt, I thought was just some of the worst fucking nonsense I'd ever seen in wrestling. And I was an avid viewer of 2000 WCW. That should give you an idea on how much terrible shit I've seen. So I would like to see us not do as much cinematic wrestling when we don't need to, and do it only every so often when it calls for it. Like if you're bringing back, say, TNA when they were TNA brought back Kamala for a hot moment when Jay Lethal was doing his Legends challenge as the Black Machismo. Like that would be fine. You do some kind of shenaniganry with, like, say, Bob Backlund. Okay. But, doing it with, like, a Tim Thatcher or Adam Cole or, I don't know, someone good, there doesn't need to be that. You know what I mean? Like, just use it sparingly and not... It's become the new Hell in a Cell, the new TLC. What dumb pay-per-view can we put a cinematic wrestling match in it? I don't know. Iron Sheik has the tweet of the night. You want to hear it?
When doesn't he have a tweet of the night? Let's go.
Iron Sheik is proof positive why immigration works. Fuck you, Tyrannoron. We have him now. Iron Sheik tweeted this out 3 minutes ago. Peppa Pig, you dumb son of a bitch. You got a lot of heat with me. I wish I could see you so I could beat the fuck out of you, you jabroni pig. Hot takes on pieces of pork. I love it. That man. That man is an American gem. Speaking of gems, Madison Rayne is retired from pro wrestling, and she feels that she is a Impact Hall of Famer. But Marcus, do we agree with that statement?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree, but I can't see her if in terms of women, I gotta put up and I wouldn't put her in there before they put Kong in there.
That's fair. That is fair.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's how I was thinking about this when I saw the story pop up. She has the credentials. She does not have the in-ring talent. And this is kind of where the rubber meets the road for comparing and contrasting Hall of Famers. In football, no one's going to go, Tom Brady's not a Hall of Fame quarterback. He slept his way through 10 Super Bowls. No, like you can't be a bad quarterback win 6 Super Bowls, go to 10, maybe win 7. That's the definition of being a good football player, a good quarterback. You go to 10 Super Bowls, you're good at your job. But in wrestling, you don't actually need to be talented or athletic to be booked well. And in the inverse, you could be as talented as anyone and not be booked at all. Look at Ricochet and Chad Gable. So when I look at Madison Rain's list of accomplishments, 2-time Knockouts champions, 5 or 6-time, 2-time Knockouts tag team champion, 5 or 6-time Knockouts champion, color commentator, lead booker for the women's division for some time. But, she was part of the Beautiful People, had a tag team with Gail Kim. But if you're looking at her talent, like her history, name one good Madison Rain match. I shouldn't say good. Good is subjective, but name one, match of the year contender. Name one match that you think, oh my God, Madison brought it. Madison went to new levels, or Madison and so just tore down the house. Because even though Taryn Terrell was around for the length of a hiccup, she had 2 match of the year contenders, was the face of one of the sexiest stables of all time, and was a genuine villain and hero during her 4 or 5 years. Oh, and she was the sexiest Kaylee Cuoco lookalike in a Kaylee Cuoco lookalike contest. The last one's not actually true, but you look at her and you're like, holy goddamn, she's Kaylee Cuoco if she was hot. Not to say Kaylee Cuoco's not hot, but, Taryn Terrell's the sexier version of that. So, like, Gail Kim and her tore down Slammiversary, what was that, 2013?
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, Brooke Tessmacher had a few good matches. Awesome Kong's lineage of great matches. ODB's gimmick is iconic, even to the point where it still pops 15 years later. But Madison Rain was never that kind of personality. She never had that kind of fan base. She never had that kind of in-ring career. But her accolades, her longevity, her name value, like that is main event level. Not main event level, but Hall of Fame level. But her in-ring talent isn't. So, like, I am conflicted.
Yeah, it's interesting because when I said she was Hall of Fame with, I was actually talking about her company lineage tenure.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of being in the company and everything, and I think most people should get severe credit when they have to be on commentary with her husband. So I think she made it work the best, which it speaks volumes, their patience, and just sheer capacity for simple humanity. But yeah, I mean, uh, when it comes to her, I think thankfully with her, we have seen her transition and make changes to that character over time and whatnot, and go through phases where she has improved. But I think you look at somebody like Taryn Terrell, she really went from zero to hero in terms of basically coming in. She was a stunt double, professional, I guess, stunt person, and then came into wrestling, and obviously coming in through WWE, you kind of get thrust into stuff, and then in Impact, she kind of slowly got to matriculate into something that was, you know, anytime Gail Kim just not gonna give any scrub to rub, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, she beat it in the way that she did on the stage that she did. It speaks volume. So, it's sad that we didn't get her or Brooke to have longer extensions and maybe end their careers on a better note. But life happens. So, yeah. But Maddie, man, she should get some type of recognition. But like I said, I wouldn't put her in before Kong. Like that's just straight up and down.
Well, I would put her in before Kong if Kong isn't ready to go in. You know what I mean? Because Kong's in AEW, at least I think she is.
Oh yeah, that's the whole thing. Yeah.
So, like, if Kong's like, I'm not ready to go in until I'm retired, or I'm not ready to go in, until 2030, whatever, I'd be like, all right, I'll put Madison Rain in. But if that's not the case, then
Yeah.
go Kong first. But again, this isn't the Baseball Hall of Fame, which didn't elect anyone this year because they're twats.
Yeah.
This is pro wrestling, and sometimes you just put people in when they're available to make the appearance.
I'm saying, yeah, I mean, but you know, we credited the company with this. Dave, no matter how you felt about the talent, all their choices were legit, 100% guaranteed. Like the Dudley Boys, Earl Hebner, Sting,
Sting,
Kurt
Kurt
Angle,
Angle,
Gail Kim,
Ken
like you
Shamrock, Abyss.
Shamrock. Bitch, you don't debate those talents. I mean, we know WWE's thing is a joke, even though it's supposed to be lauded. Like it's like the freaking PWI list every year. Like you know what it is.
And I still buy
It's
it.
just the
I
act
still, every year, Marcus, I still buy it.
every year. Cause I just see tweets and shit on like you bastards, you did it again.
I'm sitting there reading it.
Bastards,
Yeah, yeah, I'm never buying it again. Next year rolls around. I can't believe I bought it again.
next year is like #1 wrestler Jay White. You bastards.
PWI office,
Oh
who is
man.
it? Pizza delivery. We didn't order pizza.
Ah,
Smash!
ah.
What did I tell you
Oh.
about putting villains on the cover of your magazine? Have no fear. Chad is here. Dun, 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 dun.
Prepare yourself, villain. But